We are back again after a short break, but with a huge book haul from Amazon that I just can't wait to show you all. I have about 13 to 14 books here, and I also got a couple of books from Blossoms. So that one will be in a separate video, but for now I'm going to be showing you all the books that I got from Amazon, and I can't wait for you to see it all. Hi everyone, I'm Ashna Balasubramaniam and welcome to my YouTube channel. I make videos related to books, I make book reviews, book recommendations, and a couple of videos about journaling and a few interesting things like that. So if this is your area of interest, please consider subscribing to my channel and following all my videos. So now let's start off with the first book that I got, and in addition to these books, I also have a package that I need to unbox. But let's first go with the books that I've already opened. Okay, so the first one, I had recently gone to Blossoms, right? And there I saw this book called Grimm's Fairy Tales. So as you all know, I'm sure that a lot of you have read fairy tales already. But Grimm's Fairy Tales, written by the Grimm brothers, has a very grotesque twist to the stories. So after I got this book about day before yesterday or so, and I just read one story. I just randomly picked a story, and I picked Cinderella because obviously Cinderella is something we're all familiar with. And when I picked the story, it's just not like the regular Cinderella story. Though the outline of the story is the same, it has such a brutal twist to the whole thing. So which is why I wanted this, and I've always enjoyed fairy tales, and nowadays with all these reels circulating around about some of these tales that are actually not what they used to be, I was very curious to explore this a little more. So though I saw it in Blossoms, I went ahead and ordered it off of Amazon. And right now there's also this Republic Day sale going on, so please do consider checking this out. And yeah, I think there are a couple of discounts as well. Though I started ordering much before the Republic Day sale, I ordered a couple of books before that, and now I'm actually using the sale to buy more books. But yeah, I think this would be the end of it. I have 2 more books that are going to be delivered. I'll show you that also in a separate video. So this is the first book that I got. Okay. So now for the second book. The second book is called Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers. So I thought I'm only into fiction. Why not try something that's, a little bit of self-help and this non-fiction genre. And this book is written by Tam Kaur. So Tam Kaur is another YouTuber, and she makes some really cool videos on, loving yourself, self-care and such things, and I do kind of enjoy watching her videos. So I thought, let me give this a try, and I just can't wait to read this. I actually started a little bit of this book last night, but let's see how it goes. So the thing is, currently I'm in a reading slump. So initially I started off by reading Wonder by Archie, and once I started that, I was so engrossed in that, and then I lost that book inside my house. Okay, I couldn't find that, and then I thought of picking another book. So the other book that I picked was Killers of a Certain Age, and when I was in an interesting part of that, I found Wonder. And I was pretty confused on which book to read right now, and somehow I ended up not reading both of them. But I do plan to get back to that, somewhere within Jan or probably Feb. But yeah, I thought in the meantime, I just saw this book, and I thought, okay, why not just pick it? At least I'll wake up from my reading slump. Very rarely it happens, but if it happens, always go back to a familiar book or your familiar genre. Usually thrillers are my genre, but this time I just thought, okay, let me go with self-help. Okay, so the next book, if you've already watched my previous book reviews, you know that I've developed a liking for historical fiction, and I heard that Pachinko is a historical fiction based in Korea. So the synopsis of the story is what interested me and made me pick this book. So in this, a woman falls in love with a man, and she realizes later that the man is already married. She refuses to settle with him, okay? And then she finds a gentleman and accepts a marriage proposal from him. But she has to move in with the gentleman, and that is in Korea. And this is amidst all the crisis that happens in Korea. So she learns to adapt to that lifestyle in Korea, and she's also kind of learning about love. She's also learning about betrayals. She's learning about friendships, and that is what this whole book is about. And I just can't wait to read these. So not just this, I want to read more of historical fiction this year, because obviously The Women by Christine Hanna really got me into historical fiction. I also want to read her other books, but let's discuss all of that in my TBR videos. Okay, so the next book that I have is called The Door to Door Bookstore. I'm sure you've seen it trending all over BookTube and on Bookstagram. So the protagonist of the story is Carl, and he's a 72-year-old man, and he goes door to door and hand delivers the books to people who are actually interested in reading. And there he befriends a young girl, and somehow, like, when he's on the verge of losing a job, this young girl and he find a way to try and work it out together. Whether he loses his job or not is another thing that I have to find out if I read this book. But I heard that this is a very cozy read, and yeah, definitely something I need to read this year. So this is the fourth book that I picked. And the fifth book that I picked, so if you know me, I'm into thrillers. I really enjoy reading thrillers. So the fifth book is a thriller. It's called Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. And this is about a Chinese woman who runs a tea shop. And she has a lot of time. She's about 60 years old or something. And she has a lot of time in hand, and suddenly she sees a murder in the tea shop. Okay, there's a body in the tea shop. She does not actually witness the murder, but there is a body in the tea shop. Now, she has nothing but time on her hand, and she also loves researching crime stories. So she feels that she can do a better job than the police, and she sets out on a mission to uncover the murderer. So that is what this book is all about, and I see that this book has been recommended by a lot of booktubers, and I thought, okay, why not check it out. So this is my fifth book. Now let's move on to the next book. So if you watched my videos last year, right, you would have known that I loved reading The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. So this has a sequel to it. In fact, the fourth book is releasing this year, but I'm still in the second book. I just picked it up. This is called The Housemaid's Secret. So in The Housemaid, I don't want to spoil it for you, which is why I'm not going to be telling you the synopsis of this book, because of course even I'm yet to read it, and I don't want to explain this synopsis for you. So in the first book, that is Housemaid, Millie is convicted of a crime. We don't know what that crime is. We'll find out in the end. And she's struggling to find a job, and she's now living in her car. And then she finds a job at a very wealthy woman's house called Nina Westchester. So once she goes into the house, she initially feels that Nina is a very kind woman, someone who could be a great boss for her. But once she steps into the house, she realizes that Nina has been blaming her for things that didn't happen. And let's say Nina has given her clothes away to someone. She blames Millie of giving away those clothes. So these are just small examples. And not just that, Nina's daughter also proves to be a brat and a trouble for Millie. So the only person in the house, I think his name is Anthony. I read it last year, I've forgotten already. So Anthony is the only one who seems to be taking Millie's side. But there are secrets lurking behind the door. Okay, she hears some screams, she hears a lot of arguing, and then Nina doesn't come out for days, and such things are happening. And Millie's also falling for Anthony at the same time. So that is a thriller. It was actually a jaw-dropping thriller. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, though it was a really good thriller, I know there are better thrillers as well, and I wanted to read the sequel to that, so I'm reading The Housemaid's Secret this year. So I'm pretty excited to pick this up. Now let's move on to the next one. So this year I made a resolution to pick up a lot more Indian authors than I did last year. So I picked up The Drowning by Nidhi Upadhyay. So in this book, a woman loses two twins, and she is accused of murdering her neighbor's kid. Okay, and she is also found cradling some dead bodies of babies, and it looks like there is some black magic also involved. So the whole plot of this seems so sinister, and I just couldn't help picking it up. Obviously, I think I'm a little drawn towards sinister things, but yeah, I wanted to explore more about this, so this is why I picked this book up. So if you know Nidhi Upadhyay, this is her third book, and she has already written two other books that I've read and reviewed, but I think this plot is going to be much better than those, because those two books I would just rate it a 3.5 out of 5, but I'm hoping this one is going to be really good. Okay, so the next one, if you've watched my other videos, you would know that I'm a huge fan of Millie Johnson. So if I see a Millie Johnson book, I have to pick it up. And I have a huge collection of Millie Johnson on my bookshelf. I'll show you that as well. I'm sure you can also see that in my bookshelf tour. So I got this book called The Perfectly Imperfect Woman. I didn't even bother reading the synopsis because if it's a Millie Johnson book, I'm just going to blindly pick it up. So I got this one, and I don't want to read the synopsis. And if I read the synopsis, I know I have to tell it for this video, but I really want to be surprised by every little thing I discover in this book. So, no synopsis for this book, but I'm pretty excited to read this one as well. So, it is very surprising that the whole of last year I never read a Millie Johnson book, and this year I want to pick more of her books. Okay, so the next book here, it's called How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. The title was so intriguing and it also seemed pretty humorous to me, so I had to pick this. I know it's an other thriller already, and we have just finished about 3 thrillers already in the list, but it's okay. I mean, what's the harm in picking more thrillers? So I got this, and there is this person called Kitty Collins. Okay, she seems to be the protagonist of the story. I don't know, I'm yet to meet her. And yeah, it seems like she's stalked by someone and she accidentally ends up killing the man. Okay, and now that she ends up killing the man, she has developed a taste for revenge and she just can't wait to savor it. So how the story unravels is something I'm really eager to find out, and I'll post a review on this as soon as I read it. I really want to get to this book before the end of February, and yeah, hopefully I get to do that. So I think this also has a lot of like humor added to this thriller. So of all the mysteries that I picked, right? So this one is going to be a serious thriller. This one is going to be, I think it's going to be mixed with humor. This one I heard is a cozy mystery. And this one, I think there are evil forces at play. I think it could also be horror. I'm not sure of that. But let's, read and find out about that. And then the other book that I got, like I said, I wanted to include more Indian authors. This is called Andaman by Ratnadeep Acharya. Yeah. So it's written by Ratnadeep Acharya, an Indian author. And this story revolves around the cellular jail in Port Blair. So obviously you know that during the British rule, a lot of people were imprisoned whenever they participated in the Swadeshi movement or when they posed a threat to the British Empire. So one such person was actually jailed there, and this person happened to be a priest. So the priest actually left a couple of symbols behind, and later on another person, like somewhere close to our present, he actually discovers, so he is orphaned, he is he just survives a tsunami, and he happens to discover this Port Blair jail. And he also tries to uncover these symbols and tries to decipher what they actually mean. So I think this is a thriller because that's what this book seems to say. And there is also this swastika symbol that poses a lot of significance in this book. I'm yet to find out how that is. And I don't know. So the swastika symbol is a very religious symbol for us, right? But the Nazis actually stole our symbol for their own Nazi symbol. So a lot of Westerners don't understand, they think like we are using the Nazi symbol, which is actually something very religious to us. So, but I don't know what the story holds, and I just can't wait to find out. So with this, we've completed about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books so far, but I still have more books to go, and that is in this package. So now let's quickly unbox it. So I know that I went really overboard in shopping for books this time, because in addition to these books, I also have my Blossoms book haul. But regardless of this, my reading target remains the same. It's just going to be 50 books for the year. Last year, I ended up reading 53 books, and there are still so many 100 books in my shelf. I'm planning to declutter some of them and see what I want and what I don't want. But just because I'm posting a book haul, it does not mean that I'm promoting buying of so many books, because I feel like at the end of the day, if you're not going to read it, right, it's just going to stay in your shelf, and it is kind of like a, I wouldn't say it's very productive, it's counterproductive actually. So okay, anyway, enough of gyan. I'm going back to this book haul. So this one is a Japanese fiction. It's called Welcome to the Hunam Dong Bookshop. Hunam Dong Bookshop. Okay, this is written by Huang Bo Ryum. I hope I'm spelling this properly. But yes, So a lot of people said that, Days of Morisaki Bookshop, which is actually trending everywhere, is an amazing Japanese fiction book. And I had a very different opinion. Obviously, my opinion was pretty unpopular. I didn't like that book at all. In fact, that book gave me a headache. So someone suggested to me that, this book is actually like a lot better and it will really like, make you feel good about reading this. So I'm eager to read this. I don't know what the synopsis of this book is about, but let's read, find out, and then I'll review it on my channel. So this is the 11th book that I got. Okay. The first book that I showed you in this video is Grimm's Fairy Tales, and I thought why not get the lighter version of it, that is Hans Christian Andersen's Fairy Tales, and that too a deluxe edition. So I know this one is wrapped in plastic, and I have a habit of collecting all these deluxe edition books and all these collector's edition books. So this is how it looks like. It has all this silver foiling, and Hans Christian Andersen's Fairy Tales have like a beautiful, a sunshine-ish touch to it. So I remember seeing this when I was very young in my grandma's place, but when we moved from that house, somehow we ended up losing all of those books. So I can't wait to read this as well. This is something I'm going to treasure a lot. And though it may seem like fairy tales are for the younger folk, I still enjoy reading them, and I do want to come back to this every now and then. So let's move on to the next one. Okay. The next one is The Canterville Ghost. It's a horror book by Oscar Wilde, and this is a classic. This is my first this is my first Oscar Wilde book, and I'm just very eager to read it. It's very small. I think I can finish it very soon, probably in like half a day or less than half a day. Okay, this is 87 pages. I think I can finish it in an hour or so. So I can't wait to read this as well. And last year, I actually did a horror reading vlog for Halloween, and ever since then, I'm a little obsessed with horror, because previously I used to get really scared and I never ventured into horror much. But this time, I want to explore more of horror, especially if it's written by Simone St. James. So this one is called Ghost of the Silent Hills, though this is not written by Simone St. James. It is written by Anita Christian. So like I said, I want to include more Indian authors this time in my reading diet, and this is called Ghost of the Silent Hills. So yes, with this we're done with the haul. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. I still have a lot more books to show you, which I'll do so in my next video. I also have a beginner's book recommendations video coming up, so please stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed watching my video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my video. Stay happy, stay blessed, and stay kind. Bye.